about the Messi thing?
Anything else on the Messi front, Chris, before we move on?
No, I'm done. I'm
I'm falling out. I told you, I never want to bring this guy's name up again.
I don't know, man. This Messi thing is just a freaking mess. What a disaster.
I don't want to hear this name ever again until it's official. But they got me back.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Solana, the Herons are back.
Welcome everybody to episode number 80. What are we at? 188.
Yes, sir.
180 of the Battered Herons podcast. I am your host Daniel Granada, and alongside me is actually Mr. Daniel Solana. KBD is celebrating his daughter's birthday, so shout out to her for happy birthday to her, and shout out to KBD, who eventually will probably watch this. Solana, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I had a fantastic morning. Woke up at 6:30 this morning, played a round of golf. Then I cooked a parrillada for my family, with my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law. It was amazing. We had like 20 people there, got the Inter Miami game on, and it was a house full of Ecuadorians. So what do you think, happened? When Campapi scored that goal, it went nuts, bro. People were jumping in the pool. People were going absolutely crazy. They were throwing their kids in the air. Dude, it was nuts, man. It was nuts.
It was fun. It was fun being there. And Rohan, he's saying, bro, we've been waiting longer than for that Campana goal. I mean, I was at the stadium, and it was very difficult to get out of there. It took me a solid half hour to get out of that parking lot, plus the hour to drive home. So we apologize for making you wait so long. But, yeah, it took us quite a while to get out there. But good result in the end, even though, man, it was a nasty night. I heard that it was going to be hot. Everybody's like, going to be over 100 degrees. I said, bet, tank top. Put on the tank top. I got so soaked today. It was when you step on you're taking steps in your shoes, and then it's just like a mush. Like it was really bad. And shout out to my wife. She was a trooper. We were there with our two kids, and we sat through that rain the first time for the first almost 10 minutes. But it got to a point where we couldn't do it anymore because obviously she's pregnant. Don't want her to get sick. And it was a rough go today. Rough go. And then the rain again at halftime. It was a rough game. I'm glad that it ended up in a win because otherwise I would have been really frustrated.
Absolutely.
How was it seeing the game at home?
I mean, obviously it was nice because I was sitting on a beautiful couch and watching it in the AC after spending the afternoon in the pool and stuff. So it was great. But dude, it was crazy. It looked like there was a hurricane going on.
That's what it felt like.
Shout out to La Familia, man. They panned the camera when it was raining, like really
pouring.
And they were out there jumping and hitting the bombos and stuff. So shout out to them. They get a lot of shit from a lot of other fan bases, saying that Inter Miami pumps noise into the stadium and their fan base is just crap, whatever. That's not true, bro. They're out there, man. And it was pouring rain, man. And shout out to them, man.
And shout out to Fractural Fruit. Yeah, I saw him walking through the parking lot when I was headed out. It was really hard to get out of there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did stay in their seats, even though, like I'm telling you, it got so bad that remember we were playing soccer a couple months ago, and it was raining so hard that you couldn't see in front of you almost. That's how hard it started raining at one point. Like we tried to wait it out, but it just got it was just raining so hard that it was like hurricane type rain. And, it sucked because it kind of ruined the experience a little bit with my kids, obviously, there. But all in all, it was a happy ending, and I guess we can get into the game. So here we go. Let's start with the starting 11. Chris is usually the one that runs this down, but I guess I can handle that while he's out here. So we had in the back, we had Callender. From left to right, we had Jordi Alba, Freire, Thomas Aviles, and Weigan at right back. Then in the midfield, we had the Cremaki, Busquets, and Gressel. And up top, we had Rojas, Suarez, and Messi. Anything that stood out to you on the starting lineup?
Just the fact that Alba was starting.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it didn't really stand out to me, but, it was his first game back starting. So it was a nice surprise to see him in the starting lineup. I was happy, with the front three. I thought that was going to be our most productive front three. I was wrong. I think we were all wrong. But I mean, overall, I think that was the strongest lineup based on what Tata has at his disposal today. The only change that I would have made maybe would have been putting Rojas in the middle. I see him a little bit better in the middle. Taking out Kremaski and starting Taylor. That would have been maybe the only change that I would have made, because that's, in my opinion, the strongest 11 today.
I agree. And Adrian and a few other people are asking. I guess they joined the right in the beginning. Right in the beginning, I let everybody know. Chris actually didn't go to the game and isn't on here because today is his daughter's birthday. So again, happy birthday to her. So he is with her, spending some quality family time. So that's why he is not on here today. I'm sure, believe me, his boy Campana getting on the score sheet right at the end of the game. If he could, I'm sure he would want to be on here talking of Campapi. Yeah, starting 11 is kind of what I expected, unfortunately, because I agree with you, and I've said it in the past. I'd rather see Rojas. I think in the midfield, he helps create more when they're struggling, and I think we saw that when Benkrem came off and Rojas came on. I felt like the midfield was producing a little more. You were getting a little more vertical passes, and I like Taylor up top. I like Taylor up top and Rojas behind him. I think that's a nice combination. But all in all, starting lineup, I wasn't shocked. That's what more or less I expected. Now, the game started, and you tell me what you thought. I thought that it seemed like DC United came out. They didn't press. I think they came out with the intention of, let's grind out a draw. That's what it felt
100%.
like to me.
100%.
Now,
I saw the starting lineup.
Think?
Yeah, I saw the starting lineup that their coach put out there. I saw 5-3-2, and I was like, Jesus. The only thing that I could remind myself of was like the Uruguayan league or the Argentine league, when one of the big teams goes and plays, one of the smaller teams, and they just park the bus and hope for a tie. And I think that's exactly what DC wanted, is to park the bus and hope for one of those corners or something, and Benteke could maybe get his head on it. But, man, we owned that guy tonight. We owned him tonight. He did not do anything.
He had 9 opportunities at headers, right? They had 9 balls that were thrown his way for an aerial duel, as they call them. He only got his head on 4 of those. You know who had the most headed duels won this game? Freire. Freire had a great game. Aviles, I thought, had a great game also. Tomas Aviles seems to me like he's getting better every game. And when he plays against teams that don't press, he looks even better. Because that's the flaw in his game. He just doesn't have it. He can't pass out of a press. But when you're not pressing him, to me, he looks stellar. I thought that he looked great. And Ferreira did get injured at one point. I'm sure that you were happy to see Christoph, since I know you love Christoph.
I was delighted. But, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little surprised with that stat, because Freire came off with about 25, 30 minutes left. So the fact that he led the game in aerial duels won is, and he didn't play the last 30 minutes. It's pretty surprising. It's pretty badass. So,
he won 5 of 7.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like he had a knee injury, from when it came off. But it was so loud that I couldn't hear, what the commentary was saying. So, again, I hope, whatever test they run on him and whatever happens, he's okay, because he's definitely, has to be in the back there for us to have our strongest 4 in the back.
In the first half, we held possession 68% of the time. Like, it was very apparent that DC United didn't care about possession. They just wanted to catch us on one good counter, or as Money Matt has coined it, cross and shala, right? And just have Benteke on the other end of one of those headers. Did you at any point think that DC United might actually pull out a victory in this game?
Never. Not at one point. Not at one point did I think that they would pull out a victory. I mean, at the end, they had that one chance with, I think his name is Jandole, but he number 11. I think he went in, and he had that one shot. Drake made a fantastic save. But really, other than that, I didn't feel like Inter Miami's, goal was ever, in trouble or really was really pressed on. I thought Inter Miami did a great job of winning possession. They had double the passes completed that DC United did, over 620 passes. That's nuts. And they, 86% of that was completed with, that's just crazy. Just crazy stats. And the possession they ended, you said they finished the first half 68. They ended the game with 67. So, I mean, overall, they had 2/3 of the possession of this game. And the only reason that they didn't put 3, 4, 5 on them was they had at times 6, 7, 8 guys playing in that back line. It was absolutely horrific to watch.
Shout out to Florida, man. I agree. Look, I was glandering here and there at the Discord during the game because I would get some update, some notifications, and a lot of people were saying, Inter Miami needs to be able to create and blah blah blah. When you're playing a low block, it's not easy. You can have Messi and everybody. It's not easy to score when they're literally playing to draw. Like last year, we saw it twice with Nashville because that was up until this year. This year, they tried to change it up, and obviously it hasn't worked. But last year, it was low block all game, and then Honey Mukhtar makes some magic whenever you get a chance. We played them twice after Messi arrived. In the Leagues Cup final, we drew 1-1 and then went to penalty kicks. And that one goal was a little Messi magic from outside the box. Mm-hmm. And then when we played them again, like a week or two later, it was a 0-0 draw. Beating a low block is not easy. Like, doesn't matter who you have on your team. If you are playing it and you're disciplined when you play that low block, it's very hard to break down. You have 8, 9 players inside the box almost. Like it's not easy to do. So I think that it was on at least on the Discord. I don't know what was going on Twitter or whatever. But in the Discord, I thought it was. You got to cut them some slack. I thought that it was kind of difficult to break that through.
I mean, you're 100% right. And then, for those of us that have played the game or that have watched other leagues and, been able to see different styles of defenses. I mean, when you're playing, like you said, against a low block and, you have a target forward, which is you want to play off of Luis Suarez. And I thought he had 3 or 4 really good opportunities. He gave Ben Krem one towards the end of the first half. Beautiful
Ben Krem
pass.
blew that. He should have had that.
I mean, honestly, I think today was one of his worst games. I was reading on Twitter that folks thought he played well, but I thought he was one of the worst players today. I wanted him out at halftime. He looked like today for the first time in a long time. He looked like a kid playing in a man's game. He got pushed around 2 or 3 times, I just didn't think he played that well. But overall, going back to what the topic is that we were talking about, it is just very, very tough when you've got 3, 4, 5 guys around you. Messi had 4 guys at one time around him, and he did Messi magic and got around them, but he just couldn't get a shot off. It was tough. So
and Adrian B saying, Danny, take out Messi and we still have a high salary. You're gonna tell me we can't compete with cheaper teams?
It's not about salary, Adrian. It's not about salary. It's more so about when a team goes in with the mentality of I want to tie, and they're gonna put 6, 7 guys back there because that's what they did. They had 5 guys and 3 guys just sitting right in front of those 5 guys. So at points they were defending with 8 guys, and they had their 11 guys on their side for I would say more than half the game, Danny. So it's tough, man. It's not about money. It's not about who your players are. I mean, it happens all the time, all around the world. That's why you see upsets.
But just to be clear, we've always say that we've struggled the most when teams press us. That's when we struggle the most. And then when they kind of start playing that mid to low block and they allow us to hold possession, we eventually score. Whether it be 1, 2, or 3 goals, we'll score. So although it's frustrating, everybody's like, oh, but Messi's dropping too far back to get the ball. And we'll all eventually score. Now, today, it almost seemed like it wasn't going to happen. But if you allow this team to figure it out, they will. If you don't let us hold possession, because we'll get one in eventually, right? Like we cut it close today, but it's going to happen. So for everybody's like, oh, no, but now all the teams are going to play like this. They don't let them. That's what this team wants. They want to hold possession, and they'll break you down for 1 or 2 goals. So let people – I'd rather them play us like this than pressing us. Because once Freire came off and Christoph came on, they immediately started pressing us. And we immediately turned the ball over, and they created a great chance. And I was like, I hope they don't do this for the next 25 minutes. And they didn't, luckily. But we suffer a lot more when we're getting pressed than when they're playing a low block and allowing us to figure things out. And I feel comfortable if that's how teams are going to play us. So for those of you like, oh, my God, now they're going to start playing, let them. That would be great. That would fall into our favor because that's the kind of ball we want to play.
100%. I mean, you saw it with Barcelona. When these guys were on Barcelona, that's what they wanted. They wanted to keep 70% of the possession and just pass it back and forth and find the one or two little seams where you're going to get a Suarez or you're going to get a Matias Rojas or a Ben Krem, somebody running through the midfield, and boom, Messi's going to find him. He always does. Just today, when you're surrounded by 4 or 5 guys, it's just very, very tough.
And it's not always going to be perfect because I felt like they were touching the ball, and I felt like they were doing link-up plays that it felt like, oh, he's about to get a shot off. And he just didn't have the chance. And that's okay. They will do these. They'll make it work more than not. So that wouldn't worry me at all. Now, there were some chances that I thought that we blew. The Kremaki one, he was by himself one-on-one with the goalie.
He should have chipped him.
Good. He should have. No, I think he could have gone far post, but regardless, he tried to go far post. He got blocked. That's okay. There was one with Matias Rojas. He played the ball, and I thought he had a perfect chance at a cross. And for some reason, he gave it one more touch. And when he gave it that extra touch, I guess he saw that he didn't have an opportunity for a cross now, and he kind of went for contact and went down, and he turned the ball over. But Suarez looked at him and told him, just get up, my guy. And then he got up and they were going because instead of doing the cross, he went for the contact, tried to draw a penalty. But I thought we had opportunities. There was
the Messi one. There was a Messi one in the second half where he kind of had a step on the defender, and then the defender caught up to him, and he couldn't get that shot with his right or left foot, and he kind of cut back, and we got a center in. I mean, look, yeah, that was the one where I think David Ruiz just kicked it, with his left foot or his right foot way over the goal. But yeah, I mean, Inter Miami had opportunities. They had, certain plays where they had that tiki taka, and it was there for them. And there's gonna be nights like this, man. It's a 34 game season. There's gonna be nights where you're just gonna have to, as a fan, sit there and grind it out, and just like Chris always says, man. And he's he's there in the comments. Happy birthday to your daughter, Chris. And he says, like and subscribe for the boys tonight. But he always says, good teams always find a way to win. Mm-hmm. And that's what Inter Miami did tonight, is they just stuck with it, and found a way to win.
And shout out Florida Man, said, I got perfect shirt. This wasn't a shirt I actually wore to the game. I wore a tank top, but it was soaking wet. Came and I just threw this on. As you can see, it probably even looks wrinkled.
Well, in the Discord, they actually requested you wear that shirt. So I didn't know if you read the Discord or not. Yeah. No. Yeah. I was chiming in with the Discord fam during the game and stuff. They requested that you wear that shirt after the Campana goal. So it worked out.
Batterfans.com if anybody wants to support Campana. Sorry. Everybody wants to support Campana. The Saved by the Campana is batterfans.com. So first half, I thought that we looked like the more dangerous side. I'm not gonna lie to you. I missed like 10 or 15 minutes of the game once I had to leave because of the rain. So I didn't miss from minute 25 to almost 40. So I don't know what that looked like in those 15 minutes or so. But from what I got to see when I was sitting there, it looked like they were controlling the side. They were getting some opportunities. So once halftime happened, I still had no doubt that we we're gonna win this game. What were your thoughts at halftime?
Yeah, I wasn't upset with the first half. I thought they did what Tata wants them to do. They controlled the entire game. I was upset with Ben Krem. I thought he got pushed around too much. I thought he lost too many balls. And then obviously that opportunity, you just can't miss that. You just cannot miss that opportunity, especially in a game that was so tight. And a game that you knew that was going to be tough to get a goal. So if you have an opportunity like that, you can't miss those. So I was upset at that. But I had all my, my trust in the team and the fact that they would grind it out and get a goal. Was I worried when we got into the 90th minute and nothing happened? Absolutely. But dude,
It was the 85th minute, 85th,
something
86th
like
minute.
that.
And there was a DC United player that went down and with an injury, or I don't know. He subbed off, but he was down there for like 2 minutes. And when that happened, I guess everybody's like, okay, he's down here for like 2 minutes. It's like 3 minutes left till the 90th minute. Everybody started leaving. And my daughter goes, why is everybody leaving? I said, well, because he's wasting time. And they think that it's going to end in a draw, so they're trying to beat the traffic, I guess. And she's like, I know, but what if they score late? I was like, well, that's why we don't leave games early, Olivia. And she's like, okay, good. I love that I said that to her. Because when he scored, we started celebrating. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but we started celebrating. And she's like, wow, those people feel like idiots. I was like, yeah, they probably do. That's why you stay till the very end. But backtracking. So halftime, I also felt like we were going to win. Then the second half starts, and the offense just isn't clicking. And for everybody that says Tata doesn't make any changes, I thought that he made a great change. Because although it was one sub, it almost counted like two. Because he subbed out Kremaki for Robert Taylor. It was like the 56th minute, I believe. Mm-hmm. So 10 minutes into the second half. And he does that, but it's almost like two subs because he's bringing in Robert Taylor, yes, but now he is boosting the midfield because he dropped back Rojas into the midfield. And I thought that helped also. I think Rojas provides a lot more creativity and balls into the final third when he's in the midfield than when Kremaki. And I love Kremaki, but this season, I'm really feeling like Kremaki would be better suited as a super sub than as a starter. What did you think about the substitution for Kremaki at the 56th minute for Robert Taylor?
I mean, I called it. I said it in the first half to my buddy, that I was watching the game. He was sitting next to me on the couch. I was like, he's got to take out Kremaki. He's got to put Matias Rojas in the middle, and he's got to put Taylor in. Taylor gives us a really, really, really interesting winger that can beat players one-on-one. And we don't have any other guy that can do that other than Messi right now. So I thought it was very, very necessary for him to go there. And also, I thought we needed Matias's creativity in the midfield. And he really wasn't, he really didn't do anything in the first half. He was just kind of out on an island. And I think he needs to be more involved. When he's out on an island, he doesn't, and he's not involved. He doesn't, I guess, kind of get a feel for the game. But when he's more involved, that's when he gets like that chispa, kind of like that little Paraguayan flair that he plays with, and that we've seen him, score and get those goals with. So again, when they put him out on an island, at first I thought it was going to work, but it didn't work. And I think Tata made the perfect sub at the right time.
I agree. I think that Tata, for everybody that hates on Tata, even though I'm not a fan of the fact that he keeps throwing Gressel out there, I feel like he has been making more in-game adjustments, which was something that people used to criticize a lot. I wanted to see if I could pull this up. I don't know if it's going to work or not, just so people can see the rain that was falling. This is what it was looking like.
Oh, that was Messi's free kick.
That was Messi's free kick. And I thought to myself, ooh, if he scores on this, that's going to be pretty dope. But it was a downpour, man. It was really rough. Look at this. Now, Messi, I got to see two of his free kicks. I don't know if he took another one while I wasn't watching. But he kept kicking it straight into the wall. And I don't know how tall these players are. I saw McVay, and I was like, I don't remember McVay being that tall. But he kicked it into the wall twice. But yeah, I just wanted everybody to see what it was looking like from our seats. It was serious rain there in the first half and in the halftime. So it was really heavy rain. I think that might have affected the game a little bit also, because things get a little harder to handle when the rain is that bad. And that lasted for like half of the first half. I'd say from like the 15th minute to like almost the 35th, 40th.
I thought it was gonna, kind of help Inter Miami out. It was gonna be more of an advantage out for them because they could play like those longer balls. They would skip, maybe get through. But it didn't really turn out to be an advantage for anybody because it was just kind of back and forth the entire first half. So it just ended up being a pain in the ass for all the fans that went out there, to support Inter Miami that had to deal with that. So,
what's funny?
Yeah.
I'm given, because like I explained it 2 weeks ago when he went to the 6-2 win and I didn't go. Sometimes we swap tickets, right? So he could take his family, I could take my family. So he's already gone twice on my tickets. This is the first time he gives it to me. So when he went with my tickets, he saw a 6-2 game. When I went, I got rain, I got the weather delay, and I almost got a 0-0 draw. Like, things aren't working out for me right now. And now he's trying to, the second game that he's supposed to give me, he's trying to give me a Wednesday game. Chris is a douchebag, is what I'm saying. I know. What a douche.
Don't take a Wednesday game. Absolutely
I know.
not. Only Saturday games.
So just putting that out there. All right. So we got into the second half. Things weren't looking good. Matias Rojas came in to the midfield. I thought that he was looking a little better in the midfield than he did up top. And then we get Freire goes down. Freire was playing really well. He goes down, and Christoph comes on. They immediately start pressing us. What did you think of Christoph in the second half?
I mean, I think he came on and did what he had to do. At first, I was like, shit, they're gonna press him and it's gonna be bad. And they did at first. Had they continued to press, I think it would have got ugly for Inter Miami. But they kind of only pressed a little bit, sat back, and that allowed Christoph to kind of work himself into the game. You saw him even get into the final third a couple times. So as soon as Christoph kind of gets comfortable in the game, he doesn't play that terrible, I guess.
Well,
if that's a nice thing to say, So for those of you that know, I'm not a big Christoph fan, so I said something, compliment. There you go.
But you know what? It might have been a coincidence that they started pressing when Christoph came on, because I don't think that being pressed is Christoph's weakness. I think it's Thomas Aviles' weakness. And when he came on, they immediately pressed, and Aviles immediately turned the ball over, and they got a good chance. So I think that we like you said, we lucked out. Now, one thing I do want to say about Christoph that I've heard I've heard Chris say it, and I've heard a couple other people say it, is that a lot of the players on the pitch, they yell at Christoph, that they constantly get upset at him. Now, I've never argued that point because maybe I just haven't seen it myself, but I hadn't until today. Jordi Alba was giving him a tongue lashing, and I was really surprised. Like, he was yelling at him with arms up in the air, and I was like, God damn, like they were really giving it to him. And I was kind of surprised at that, and that was the first time I see it. So if it's happening when you guys have said it, I've now seen it myself. Jordi Alba was giving it to Christoph. So yeah, that was kind of rough to watch. I kind of felt bad for Christoph, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I mean, I don't feel bad for him. I would think of it as an honor if Jordi Alba was yelling at me, considering he's only played 80 something games at Shakhtar Donetsk. So if somebody who's won multiple, La Ligas and a Champions League and a World Cup and a Euro Cup is yelling at me, I'd be honored, to be honest with you. And he doesn't only have, absolutely. And not only does he have Jordi Alba to yell at him,
fuck you, don't yell at me.
He has Suarez to yell at him too. Suarez yelling at everybody on the team too. So
you can tell me what I did wrong, but don't fucking yell at me, yo. He was yelling at him.
I mean, maybe he deserved it. I mean, who knows what he did? But I think the communication thing is a big factor, though. I think that's why the back line plays so much better when Freire is in, just because the communication is a really, really big factor for them.
Yeah. No, I agree. And something else I wanted to touch on in that same play, because what happened was there was an outlet pass, and I guess Christoph should have been running with the guy that was gonna on the receiving end. He didn't, so Jordi Alba had to catch up to it. He kicked it out, and they went for a corner kick, and then that's when he turned around and started yelling at Christoph. Now it went to a corner kick. Now what I noticed here is that they run set plays for Benteke. So on this play, they had two DC United players up on the top of the box. They were literally standing next to each other, and we had three Inter Miami players kind of covering those two guys. And then we had three other guys literally around Benteke, and he was in the center of the box. As soon as the whistle blew, those two guys came down to the middle of the box, and then Benteke went around them, almost like forming like a pick, like you would see in basketball, and he used all those players as a pick, and he tried to be on the receiving end of that header. It was a nice play, but Inter Miami was on his ass. Like, they were man marking Benteke, and they didn't allow for anything to get close to him. So shout out to Tata for making sure that they man marked him. Shout out to Jordi Alba for yelling at Aviles and everybody else to make sure that they're marking Benteke. And I think that all in all, they did a pretty good job. So shout out to that. But I did notice that DC United is like, no, Benteke is that guy. Let's free him up and give him some space. So I thought that was pretty good.
That's not anything weird though. Like that's super common in soccer. I don't know if you've watched on a lot of corners, but they'll run plays like that. Like I remember when I was playing in college, we had a play where there was 5 of us. We'd line up right on the penalty box or on the penalty dot. The first guy would run around everybody else and run directly to the front post. The second guy would literally just run back to the 18. The third guy would run straight to the goalie. The fourth guy would run to the back post. And the fifth guy would just kind of stay around the penalty area. So it would create like a huge commotion. And sometimes, we would have certain plays where it would go to the first post. We'd call like 1. And it would be like to the first post. And the guy who would run to the first post was in charge of flicking the ball to somebody in the middle, getting a rebound and putting in. So it's very common in soccer to have, I guess, like plays and stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm 100% sure that on set pieces, most of those are design plays. I had just never seen. Maybe it's because I was paying so much. Maybe it's because I was paying so much attention to Benteke, and I'm usually not paying attention to a specific player so much. But like I was really focused in on him because he was the only thing I had to worry about. So I was focused in on him. And when I saw him doing that, I was like, oh, this is interesting because I'm sure that they have set plays, but I never really focused in on one player. Right. But because he's so deadly with his head, I really focused in on what they were doing. And I thought it was interesting the way they tried to free him up. And people are saying don't play. And somebody else said that I'm acting sus. I'm not sure what they're talking about.
Me neither, man. Me neither.
But yeah. Okay. I'm acting sus, I guess. All right. Well, that happened. Christoph came on. Again, I think for the most part, Inter Miami was still in control for the majority of that game. They were creating chances. And then once it got to like the 80th minute, you saw DC United. I think they were happy with the draw. They started wasting time. They would fall to the ground. And they were smart about it, right? Because they would go fall to the ground, waste like 2 minutes, but they'd have a sub to come on. So no, they weren't down to 10 men. They'd just, okay, you're going to come out next. So go ahead, lay down for 10 minutes, and then you're coming off. And like they kind of played it that way. So, I thought that was an interesting way to do it. And I thought that I honestly thought this was going to end in a draw. At what point did you start thinking it was going to end up in a draw also? Because I'm assuming eventually you thought that it would be a draw.
I mean, when they started making subs and they brought in number 10 for the injured guy that got the concussion, or I guess he got hit in the nose or whatever. And at that point, I was like, this kind of seems like it's gonna be a tie or whatever. I don't know, but then I thought it was interesting when Tata pulled out Rojas and put in Campana. I didn't understand the sub. And then later, after the game and all that, I'm on Twitter and I understand that apparently Matias Rojas came off as a precaution for a concussion. So he came off for that. That's why Campana went on. So I mean, just think of all the things that had to happen for. And by the way, Alejandro, super slam. I love it. I got it right this time. But
saying that Chicho now has the scoring lead. I guess I'm assuming Golden Boot.
Yeah. Because I think he had 2 tonight. I think he bagged 2. And he was tied at 11 with Benteke and Suarez. So Suarez didn't get any. But anyways, I mean, this guy comes in 10 seconds in, first ball he touches, golazo. I mean, and that ball that Boosie puts in. Oh my God, man!
I still haven't seen the replay. I gotta look for it.
You gotta look for it. You gotta look for it. Yeah, I mean, somebody here is and Dennis Lopez said that I was the one being sus, not you. And he also mentioned something about me wanting Dos Santos to come play for Inter Miami. Absolutely not. Like I think both Dos Santos were garbage for Mexico and for the LA teams that they played for. So absolutely not. But hey, man, do I think that they should still sell Campana? Yeah, I think they should sell him. I think he makes a lot of money. It would free up a DP spot, or it would free up an extra $2 million in GAM if they get rid of the DP and only keep 2 DPs. So I think for the money, and just because he scored 1 goal, I mean, let's not overreact, right? It's not like, he's the best 9 in the MLS now, right? I mean,
Okay. He's not the best 9 in the MLS. Would you say that there's a chance that he's the best backup 9 in the MLS?
no, not for the money that he's making.
He's not getting
Absolutely
paid
not.
that much. I know he's technically a DP because he's making more than $625, but he's not making like astronomical money. Like
No, but-
I think for him to be a backup, I think we're blessed to have somebody like Campana as our backup striker. Like, dude, and today, just jumping back to what you were talking about when he came on, that you didn't understand why. I thought because Matias Rojas was playing in that midfield, I thought they're just going all in on the goal. They got Robert Taylor, Campana, Messi, and Suarez all up top. At this moment, they're just gonna go for it. That's what I thought when I saw that Rojas came off. I didn't know that had anything to do with a concussion. I had no idea. Obviously, I'm at the stadium, so I'm not in the loop on all that stuff. So I thought they're just gonna go for it. Did I think that it would happen immediately? Absolutely not. Was I thrilled? Absolutely. Could you imagine how good that felt for Campana? Like the moment he saw that go in, shirt came off. He went from Campana to Campapi in a millisecond, and it must have been great because he's had a rough year so far. So I'm happy for him. I'm really happy that he got that monkey off his back and he got that big game winner because that was really cool to see.
I'm with you, man. I'm happy for him as well. I've been a big fan of his since he played back at Barcelona Sporting Club, because that's my wife and her family's team. So I watched him back when he was 18 years old and playing in Ecuador, and I watched him at the U20 World Cup. I thought he was a fantastic player, and then he kind of disappeared into like obscurity over in Europe. And when he came back, don't get me wrong, I was excited. I was like, yo, this is gonna be our 9. Like that's what I thought. But in my opinion, he hasn't panned out for what Inter Miami is paying for him. And I think it's something like $2 million or $2.4 million. That's what his like overall
that
is.
Much?
Yeah. So I don't think he's worth like I don't think that's enough value. And for 600,000, like if you're gonna be a backup forward, like you need to be making that impact every other game you come in or something like that. It can't just be once, in the first 13 games. That's my opinion.
Look, I understand what you're saying. And just to be clear, his contract is for $2.4 million spread out throughout 4 years, though. So he's making a little over DP money, which is like in the 600,000 to 700,000 per year. That's not a lot. You could buy that down with like 50 to 100,000. All of a sudden, he's no longer a DP. I think for the money we're paying him, 100% worth having him. Best, to me, in my opinion, best backup striker in the league. Am I saying that without knowing every backup striker in the league? Absolutely. There might be some great ones, but I think that Campana could be a starter for a lot of MLS teams. So having him as the backup, I think is awesome. So I'm all in on the whole keep Campana here. Wow, especially the fact that Suarez might go to Copa America. Messi is going to Copa America. Now, I would love if Campana can go ahead and be that striker and get in form. I think that would be great for us.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it would be great for Inter Miami too if he were to get informed and and come on, and we could possibly see him start alongside Suarez, which we got to see I think only once this year, or we only got to see them play together like that only a couple of times this year. But I would love to see them play together with Messi kind of slotted in a little behind them, kind of running free or whatever. I would love to see that. It would be really, really interesting because Suarez always played with a taller forward on the national team in Cavani, kind of next to them. And so, again, if they could understand themselves, I think they'd make a great pairing. But he needs
Campana
to show...
kind of looks like Cavani.
He does. He's got the hair. He's
the
tall. He's got the body. Yeah, he does. He's more good looking than Cavani, man. I gotta give it to him. Man.
100%.
Good looking guy.
He's an Ecuadorian Barbie doll. Look,
bro, he would make a lot more money if he would
Instead
just
of
go work at
novelas?
Univision. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
He's already rich. Like,
He
for
is.
those of you who don't know, like, his family is into politics. I don't know. I forgot what it is that his family's into, but
Yeah, they're
he's
into
already
like
filthy
shrimp.
rich.
Yeah, they're into like shrimp farms.
I
They
thought it was
got like
politics.
they got
Whatever it is,
plátano farms. Yeah.
he is very wealthy, so he doesn't need football. So he's fine. He doesn't have to do that. If he wants to play soccer, he could do it. If he wants to play for free, he could do it because he doesn't need the money. Before that game-winning goal, Drake had everybody was like, "Oh, Busquets and other people are man of the match." Just for that save alone, I would give it to Drake because that goal, that was a game-saving goal. Because at that point, it's the 93rd, 94th minute. If that goal goes in, I think we lose. I don't think Campana scores that goal. The game changes. Drake made that save, and the very next possession we scored. And one thing that I'm almost 100% sure that they didn't show it on TV, but maybe they did. But it happened right in front of me, so I did see, and I thought it was very cool, is that while everybody was jumping on Campana, celebrating that goal, Chelo came running to the other side of the pitch where Drake was. And he started doing one of these. And then he started clapping for Drake. He was basically saying, this doesn't happen without your save. And shout out to Chelo, because I thought that was really cool that he went, instead of running to Campana, he turned around and he ran to Drake. He gave him his props, and then he gave him a little clap. And I think he was hoping that other people would clap for him, but everybody was kind of just focused in on the whole Campana thing. But I thought that was really, really cool that Chelo did that. At first, I thought it was Jordi Alba, but it was Chelo that went ahead and did that. And Drake needs to get a lot more credit for that save, because if he doesn't get that save, Campana doesn't get that game-winning goal, and we lose that game. So shout out to Drake and shout out to Chelo for giving Drake his flowers during the goal celebration. I thought that was a really cool moment.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, up until the goal moment, I mean, I think obviously the MVP of the game has to be Campana for scoring that goal. Not only did he score, it was a golazo, but it was with his, the foot that's not his strong foot, his right foot, because he's a lefty. So, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Chris kills him for not having a right foot.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was awesome. But going back to that save, I mean, you got to give Drake his flowers for his save. Now, I know that a little bit above Stancy mentioned, and I know Tank always mentions, and I agree with them on that. And I do want to mention there was a couple of times where, he was playing with his feet. There was one time he was looking for Chelo, and he completely gave it to him 30 yards behind him. And I was like, really, Drake, bro? Really? That's how we're going to do it? So he still needs to work on his feet. But, hey, 100%, I agree with you 100%. You got to give him his flowers. That save, kept Inter Miami in the game. And without that save, I agree they don't win. I agree 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And you can't say it's the play of the game, obviously, because the Campana goal ended up being the play of the game. But, man, that doesn't happen without Drake. So Drake needs to get some flowers for that big time, because that was a big time.
I always said Drake under the three pipes is top 5 keeper in the MLS, if not top 3 keeper in the MLS. And last year he was the in my opinion, the best keeper in the MLS under the 3 pipes. His 2 biggest issues are his timing coming out on set pieces and that. And one thing that Tank mentions that I noticed, and I hadn't looked for this before, and I noticed, and I want you to look for it in the next game, Danny. When he comes out for a ball, to come out on a corner to come get it like that, he doesn't bring up his knee, which normally goalkeepers do, their knee or their foot to kind of protect themselves. And I don't see him doing that. So I want you to kind of take a look, and it's interesting. But, dude, under the pipes, top 5 keeper in the league. No doubt.
Do you think it's because you can't get full extension when you do that? Because I feel like when you're trying to go up to your highest point, you kind of have to go straight up. If you bring your knees up, do you think that prevents you from going up that high? Do you think that's why he does it? And again, I'm not saying that he's correct for doing it. I'm asking.
Maybe we'd have to ask him.
Or somebody at the actual goalie or goalie coach. No, I had never noticed that. I'm gonna look out for that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely I would say 99 keepers out of 100 will put their knee up or their cleat up a little bit just to kind of protect themselves. So.
All right. So overall assessment, that was basically the game, right? Not too many goals scored. We thought it was going to end 0-0 at one point. Glad that that of all people, Campana ended up making that game-winning goal. What did you think of Messi's play today? Because somebody pointed it out, so I looked it up, and on FootMob, he was rated the lowest player in the game, or for Inter Miami for Inter Miami, which is the first time I ever see something like that.
Dude, who cares? Who cares about FOTMob? I don't care about those people. I
Well
don't.
then just tell me what you thought. Then don't worry
Yeah.
about the rating. What did you think of it then?
I look with my eyes. And look, I thought Messi, did he play his best game? Obviously not. Did he play his worst game? No. I just thought he played a very complicated game where he was bottled up. He had a few Messi, magic moments. His free kicks just weren't there. But I don't think it's like, oh my God, Messi played terrible. He didn't play terrible. He just, dude, the other team just played a lot of defense. And when they do that, it's just very hard to do what you normally do.
Yeah, well, they played a true 5-3-2 because when we play a 5-3-2, we're really playing a 3-5-2 because we play with 3 in the back. They've really played with 5 in the back. And I see a lot of people, because I brought up Messi and brought up the thing, everybody's saying, oh, who cares? Well, usually when we're talking about other players and that they're playing well, you guys do care. But all right, I'm sorry. Who cares now? All right, we won't talk about the rating now. I apologize. So, yeah, I thought that Messi didn't obviously have his best game. But
do you think today's game is going to affect his FIFA rating? I'm just curious. And I'm only asking for Chris because I know that Chris is curious, and he loves the FIFA rating. So do you think Messi's going to go from like a 95 to maybe like a 92 because he played bad
today? Do they do that? I don't think they do that.
They do, man. They update the ratings every now and then. But I'm just talking shit just because.
I know.
But
I don't know. Look, I think that the reason he has such a hard time is, like you said, he was having those beautiful touches back and forth with Suarez, but then he would run into there was one point where he was at the top of the box and he broke somebody to the floor, broke him to the floor, and then he took on 2 other guys, but there was another 3 guys running at him. It was almost impossible to dribble through that. So unfortunately, it was nobody was going to have a good offensive game today.
If you want to go see a game where this happened to Messi, go watch the game where Argentina lost against Uruguay in the World Cup qualifier. That's basically what they did. They made Messi's life a living hell.
But when you're playing against a good, who was it? Was it against? No, it wasn't against Bayern. Who did Inter Miami? Real Madrid just beat before they played against Bayern. They played against somebody. Man City. City. Yeah. And that deciding game, they played a low block all game. And everybody's like, "Oh my God, Real Madrid! What a cheap way to win." If you think you're outmatched, you play for a result. That's it, and it worked. Look at them; they're in the Champions League final now. So it works. So I don't blame DC for doing it because they were outmatched. But it's understandable that it's not easy to finish when you're playing against a low block. So yeah, I don't think that Messi rating is a big deal because everybody had a pretty below average game. Gressel, I didn't even notice him on the pitch, so that's a good thing. Didn't do anything bad, didn't do anything good. All in all, I think we I wouldn't say dominated because to dominate you have to score, but I thought that we had a much better game than DC United had because we were creating chances.
I disagree. I don't think to dominate you have to score. I think Inter Miami dominated the game. Now, did it cost them, a lot of time to find the goal and to find, how to get there? Absolutely. But if you look at the stats, Danny, the stats say it all. I mean, we could run down them. We did it earlier. 67% to 33% possession. That's pure domination. 627 passes to 315. That's domination. 86 pass accuracy to 74. That's domination.
You know why I don't think it's domination? Because they're allowing you to have the possession.
Doesn't matter.
So, well, I think it does matter because I think you're dominating when you're I forgot how to phrase it, but when you're imposing your will.
Right.
You're like, we're gonna hold the possession even though you don't want us to. But DC United is like, we don't want the ball. Go ahead. So I don't think that that's dominating the fact that they had that much possession because DC United didn't want the ball. So you think it dominated. I don't think so. But regardless, they obviously played a better game. They had more opportunities. And I think that they deserved the win because they obviously played for the win, whereas DC United played for the draw.
I'm glad you think that they deserve the win because Tata didn't think that they deserved the win. He actually thought that a tie would be the more just result.
Really?
He said it.
That's what he said?
He said it in the press conference. Yeah. So
I like that.
So I'm glad that you think that the just result was a win.
I do. I really do. And I think you can see that Cello is playing much better defensively. I think he had a couple good saves or blocks, interceptions. Aviles, Freire, the back line altogether played well. What stood out to you the most now as we wind down here? We've gone over just about everything. Who stood out to you as like, okay, this guy played really well?
To me, today's kind of like wow guy to me was Busquets.
Okay.
He had 2 or 3 plays where it was just like, wow, señor, like you're a gentleman, bro. Like just watching you play is an absolute just fantastic thing. But for me, he was kind of the MVP before the Drake save and all that. I thought he had a great game, my opinion. What surprised me the most was how hard it was for Inter Miami to score. It's not like DC United had a bunch of all-stars back there. Steve Birnbaum, fantastic player, great veteran, but Chris McVey, we've seen him before. He's just Chris McVey, and he played okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It was just, to me, it was interesting.
Mr. Krause did not see it because I was there in person. So usually they do that while they're walking in, and obviously I was at the stadium, so I did not see them sucking on the same straw. But to each their own. I already told you what I thought of that. I'm not going to get into that today. We were
sucking straws over at my party, so.
All right, I don't want to know what you do at your weird parties. To me, Tomas Aviles, man. The more I watch him play, the more I fall in love with that kid. I think he is doing a great job defensively. Again, when they press him, he messes up. He's only, 19? Has he turned 20? I think he still might be 19. I think that he's going to grow into that to being a complete center back role with the players that he has around him. When Jordi Alba ripping him a new one every time he makes a mistake. Like, I think that he's going to grow into that as he gets older. I think that he I just love to watch him play. I really do. I think he does a great job, and he stood out to me a lot. So shout out to Tomas Aviles for having such
he needs to get on the Pipita Higuaín diet because he needs to beef up a little bit. I think if he beefs up a little bit,
he's 19.
Might help him out. But maybe Pipita should take him out, for a couple of times. Some milanesas, a couple empanadas. It might beef him up a little bit.
Soccer Daddy said Aviles over Ramos. Could you imagine Sergio Ramos over here and being the one to mentor Tomas Aviles? Oh, that would be amazing.
It would, but I don't know, man. I don't want Ramos here. I think there could be other options as center back.
Well, I don't think he's coming anyway, but.
Well, I think he was kind of close to signing with San Diego or something, but isn't he 38 years old? And I don't think really San Diego's going to start until 2026 or something. So, he's going to be like 40 years old when he debuts. I mean, he was garbage for Sevilla when he went back to them. Last year. So
for me, it is literally just a selfish. I just want you had Luis Suarez come to play for Inter Miami.
Right.
Sergio Ramos is my favorite player of all time. So for me, it would just be a selfish. I would love to see Sergio Ramos play for my team. That's literally all. Like if you were to take away the name and just show me who the player is, I probably wouldn't want him either. But because it's him, selfishly, I would want him here.
I mean, honestly, I think he could add to the team.
Personality-wise, I think so also.
Absolutely. I mean, he would 100% fit in with his clothes, with his haircuts,
on the pitch also.
Overall, absolutely. And he's good with headers. He's a leader. I mean, again, I'd take him if he's going to come for cheap, but it doesn't look like he wants to come for cheap, man.
Nah, if he doesn't come for cheap, even though I really want him, I would never give him a DP or anything crazy like that. Like, I don't want him that bad. Like, I'm good with that. But if he comes on a cheap deal, man, bring him on. I think that him mentoring Aviles and all the young guys, I think that would be awesome. I think that's about it. Look, we are what now? We are 15 games into the season. We are still top of the supporter shield, even though Cincinnati refuses to lose, man. They won again today. But we are now 9-4-2, and things are looking good. Yeah, I mean, not too much to say there, except that we don't lose with Messi. That's just is what it is. When he plays, we find a way to win, and at worst, draw. So that's always a positive. And we now have 3 games left before he leaves us for like a month. We have Vancouver in Vancouver next Saturday. Then we have Atlanta at home on a Wednesday, which is Chris trying to sell me or give me those tickets on a Wednesday. And then the following Saturday against St. Louis here at home. So I said it's 3 games left. We'll see. If we can roll 2 to 3 wins in those 3 games, I think we'll be in really good shape to going into that Copa America break.
Can I give you the stat of the night?
Yes, I would love that. I love stats.
So the stat of the night, if Inter Miami wins their next game, they would have reached their total points for last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh,
in 16 games. You like that, huh? In only 16 games.
And this one's just off the top of my head because I'm not sure. But I'm going to guess because right now Inter Miami has how many points? Is it they're almost at 30, right?
Well, no, they've got 31 or sorry, 29
31.
points. 29.
They have 31.
31. Okay.
Yeah, they have 31. And I told you they have 3 games left, so that would be 9 points. So if they were to win those 3 games and they would get to 40 points, I believe that they will be just short of breaking the Inter Miami record for most points in a season. No, I'm wrong. They had 48. So in 2022, they had 48, the most points they've ever had. If they were to win the next 3 games, they would be 8 points short of beating their best overall for a full season record. So obviously, best start. This is, it's just awesome what we're watching.
Yeah. Last season they ended with 34 points. So they're at 31. They're 2 points away from already reaching where they were last season. So Inter Miami fans, be happy.
3 points. So
be happy. These 1-0 wins that they stink. Be happy, man. Be happy.
We could literally surpass them in the next 2 games, next year's complete total. Like I get we didn't win the Champions League, which was the priority and the goal, but man, enjoy what's going on because we're not going to get this again. And look, and everybody that hates Tata, we're now 15 games in. We have 2 losses and 9 wins. If I would have told you that at the beginning of the year, you would have taken it.
Tata's unbeaten in his last 8.
There you go. Like you would take that. So we'll see. All right, we are up on the hour. So Solana, any final words?
Just want to wish a happy birthday to my father-in-law, Ismael. It was his birthday earlier this week, and he said that
You share straws with him?
I do share straws with him.
You're fucking disgusting.
I share straws with my whole family, bro. It's family.
But that's a little more acceptable, I guess.
But he texted in the group chat, the family. He's like, "Papi scored for me for my birthday." I was like, "Easy, suegrito." But I want to wish him a happy birthday. So, happy birthday to him.
Yep, and thanks and happy birthday. All right, well, Solana, I appreciate you filling in for Chris because Chris couldn't be with us. I think he joined us in the chat for a couple minutes. So shout out to him. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Again, Solana, appreciate you joining us. He'll be back with us for the Battle Herons en Español. And, we'll keep trucking along. I don't know if we're going to be on here on Monday, actually, but we'll be figuring that out. And if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the Battle Herons en Español because Solana is going ahead and he is giving away an Inter Miami Messi jersey for those that are part of or are following that and following him on Twitter. I'm trying my best to get on here and put this up on the chat before we sign out. So there it is. So you can just click on that link, make sure that you are subscribed and you become part of the giveaway. And again, thank you again, Solana. So if you are watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, if you are listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please give us 5 stars, comment, review, all that other good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And for those of you in the chat, as always, you guys are the best part of the show. We will catch you guys on the next one. So until the next one, have a good one.